Hi ladies, I am going to go over what your keto points are, what your keto point list looks like, your keto point tracker, how you're going to keep track of your points, and also a food journal. Those three are going to be very important throughout pretty much the first 3 weeks. I really want you to see if you can get dialed in with this, especially the first week, because you're going to start getting familiar with foods. What are they worth? How many fat keto points am I supposed to have throughout the day? So it's kind of neat the way this is set out. So in your you have a list that looks like this, and your first row has your fat keto points, and your protein keto points is in the second column, and in the third column you have your carbs. So each fat keto point is approximately 14 grams of fat. Each keto protein is about 10 grams, and each keto carb is about 20 grams. So what we're going to do is I want you to see that when you review this, you're going to get very familiar with it, because this is what you're going to use to track your food. It's just more tracking your points so you get an idea how much you're eating. For the first entire week that we're doing this, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 little circles, which are for your keto fat points. Then you have 8 circles for protein, and then you have 4 circles for carbs. So you want to make sure that you complete and you fill in all of these, especially all your fat points, because that's going to keep you satiated. And you want to make sure that you eat enough food so that you get enough nutrition. That's why we have this. I want you to do your best and not to go to bed without having not completed this, because it's going to be really important, because I don't want you to get sick. I don't want you to get headaches. I don't want you to get the keto flu. That's why we're tracking this. So you're going to have approximately like 80 grams of carbs. You're going to have approximately 80 grams of protein and approximately about 140 grams of fat. So that's what it's going to look like for the next few days. That should give you enough of your nutrition so that you're not sick. Okay, so in addition to that, I am going to recommend that you take some supplements, at least 3 if you can, that digest some digestimes with hydrochloric acid, and some of it has ox bile in it as well, because you're going to need that for digestion. The other one is going to be your liver support, so that we can make sure that your liver is moving properly. So I definitely want you to have that. So it's pretty much those 2 that I really want. There's, I believe, 4 in the list, but if you can have your digestimes, to make sure that your liver's cleaning out, those are the top 2. I'm trying to remember here what the other 2 were. I know I have some MCT oil in there as well, so I'm sure it's going to come back from, oh, I know what it was. Electrolytes. If you can't get any of them, get the electrolytes. But I'm recommending definitely all 3, because the electrolytes, you're going to be peeing a lot, so you're going to lose a lot of minerals doing this. So you're going to write down your food in here. This is just a food journal, just so that you get familiar with this. You're not going to do this all the time. I just want you to be familiar. In your food journal here, you're just going to write the food that you've eaten, okay? And then you're also going to track your sleep, your water, your exercise. How did you feel? Did you have cravings? Your energy, were you moodier? Were you less moodier? How was your digestion? This is going to give you an idea, especially if you are adding in like some nuts or seeds, or maybe you're doing eggs and some of the dairy products like the grass-fed cheese. They may not be ideal for you. So if they're not, at least we're going to know. Some people do really well. I always just make sure it's the quality that you're choosing to put in your mouth. So make sure that you put everything in here, what you're eating, and then go to your keto points list, and then you can check off in your list right here. You can check off how many of the fats, how many of the proteins and the carbs that you have for the day. So it should be pretty easy. This is just a good way, instead of going into the actual app where it says put in your height, put in your weight, put in your age, put in your activity. Yeah, that's great, but they're going to give you less carbs that you should be eating. And if you start eating the carbs that they're going to recommend, you're going to get sick. You just are. That's why we're doing it the lady way. We're going to do more carbs in the beginning, and then you're going to have a little bit less the following week and the following week, and then your fat's going to go up, and your protein, we're just going to gauge it to see where what's best for you. So these three are going to be your friend. Like I said, track your keto points, your journal, food journal, so you can write what you're doing and get familiar with this. So I'm going to give you one example. So let's say that on your keto points, your food journal, let's just say you had 2 eggs for breakfast. So you wrote down in the breakfast part 2 eggs, and you had, let's say, 2 pieces of bacon. So if you go on your list here, you're going to find, most of these I know by memory, but I want to make sure that that I get this properly for you. Let's go to eggs. Where's eggs? Meats and cuts, and that is going to be on page 1, 2, 3. It's going to be on page 4. So if you see here, 1 egg is worth 0.5 fat points, 0.5 protein points. So if you have 2 eggs, that's going to be, that's going to count for 1 fat. So you can circle the fat in there, the circle in one of the fats in here, you circle 1 fat, and then for that 1 egg, because we're doubling up, it's worth half. You'll see in here, for the 2 eggs, it's 1 fat point and 1 protein point. So you already got 2 of them for the day, 1 fat, 1 protein. And let's say that you had, let's just say you had 2 pieces of bacon, like I mentioned earlier. So if you had 2 pieces of bacon, what that would look like is you would also have 1 protein point and 1 fat point. So 1 keto fat point. So that's already 2 in the morning, 2 total. So it starts to add up. You just mark that off. So hopefully that makes sense to you. And let's just say you added spinach on there. Spinach really doesn't have any points because there's hardly, not that there isn't nutritional value, there is, but there really aren't carbs and you know, fats in there, and any of your carbs or your fat or your protein. So that's how you're going to track your keto points. It's really going to become easy. So this is what a typical menu is probably going to look like, and you have a sample menu plan where you're going to have fat and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So for me, for instance, sometimes I have 2 to 3 eggs in the morning. I have 2 or 3 pieces of bacon or a couple pieces of sausage, and then I have some spinach. And then on top of the spinach, I will just put a little bit of olive oil and vinegar and some lemon. Yeah, in the morning I do that sometimes. And then at lunchtime, I'll have like a can of like some salmon. I mix it up with either avocado or some mayo and on a bed of lettuce. And I usually have a lot of vegetables on top of that. And I sprinkle some seeds or some nuts. And then for dinner, I'll have like, let's say half a sweet potato or a whole sweet potato with some butter and cinnamon and maybe a piece of steak and some stir-fried vegetables. So that's what like a meal looks like for me. And if I want to snack throughout the day, I usually have like maybe some macadamia nuts or like half a cup of yogurt, of like goat milk yogurt. So that's kind of what my menu looks like. And then in the morning, I will also have that skinny coffee, which is just coffee with a lot of fat. It's ghee, it's ghee or butter or both, coconut oil or MCT oil, and coconut butter as well, and a little bit of stevia. So I'm getting a lot of fat in, so it's going to be a little bit tough in the beginning, but you're going to get it. So make sure that this is going to be your friend and you know this. So yeah, I think you'll get it and you'll like the way you feel, and this is going to be great for you.